Captain Lee Hyan stared at the data screen with tired eyes. Another day of boring asteroid surveys in the outer belt. 3 months of this routine work and nothing interesting to show for it. The Federation exploration vessel New Sol drifted slowly through the dark space between floating rocks. "Captain, we have something strange here," called Dr. Kim Nari from her science station. The xenarchaeologist had been studying mineral compositions all morning. Her voice carried excitement that Lee had not heard in weeks. Lee pushed himself up from his command chair and floated over to her workstation. The artificial gravity was set low to save power during these long surveys. "What do you have, Doctor?" Kim pointed at her scanner readings. "This asteroid is giving off energy signatures that make no sense. Look at these numbers." The display showed waves of unknown radiation coming from what appeared to be a dead rock floating in space. Lieutenant Park Jisoo looked up from her tactical station. Could it be some kind of alien technology? Maybe something the Valyrians left behind? No. Kim shook her head. The energy pattern is completely different from anything in our databases, but there is something familiar about it. Something that reminds me of old Earth technology. Engineer Choi Min-ho joined them at the science station. He studied the readings with professional interest. "These power levels are incredible. Whatever is inside that rock is putting out more energy than our entire ship." Lee felt his pulse quicken. After months of finding nothing but space dust and worthless minerals, they might have discovered something important. "Can we get closer? I want a full scan of that asteroid." "Already moving us into position, Captain," replied Park from her station. The New Sol changed course toward the mysterious rock. As they approached, the energy readings grew stronger. Kim worked frantically at her controls. "Captain, I am detecting artificial structures inside the asteroid. This is not natural. Someone built something in there." "The Valyrians?" asked Choi. "No. The construction patterns are wrong for Valyrian architecture. These look more like—" Kim paused and ran the scans again. "Captain, these look like human construction methods, but that is impossible. Humans were not building anything this advanced 400 years ago." Lee studied the scan results on the main screen. The asteroid was hollow inside with massive artificial chambers carved into the rock. Whatever was in there was huge. "Doctor, are you certain about the human construction signatures? The metal alloys, the welding patterns, even the structural design principles. Everything matches early human space construction. But the technology level is far beyond what Earth possessed during that time period." Park turned from her station. "Captain, we are receiving some kind of automated signal from inside the asteroid. It appears to be a docking beacon." "A docking beacon?" Lee felt excitement building. "After 400 years? The signal is definitely human in origin," Park confirmed. "Standard Earth docking protocols from the early space age. But there are additional codes I do not recognize." Kim looked up from her scanner. "Captain, I am detecting what appears to be a landing bay inside the asteroid, big enough for our ship." Lee considered their options. They were supposed to be conducting routine mineral surveys. First contact with unknown technology was supposed to be reported to Federation Command immediately. But the reading suggested this was human technology, not alien. And if it had been hidden for centuries, there might be good reasons to investigate quietly first. "Take us in, Lieutenant Park, but keep our shields up and weapons ready. We do not know what we might find in there." The New Sol approached the asteroid carefully. As they drew near, a section of the rock face began to iris open like a mechanical flower. Lights came on inside, revealing a landing bay that was indeed large enough for their ship. "The bay is pressurized," reported Choi. "Artificial gravity is active. Life support systems are operational. Whatever this place is, it has been maintaining itself for a very long time." Park guided their ship into the landing bay with expert skill. As soon as they were inside, The outer doors began to close behind them. Emergency lights came on throughout the bay, and they could see the massive scale of the facility around them. "My God," whispered Kim, "look at the size of this place." The landing bay was just a small part of a much larger structure. Through the transparent aluminum windows, they could see corridors and chambers stretching deep into the asteroid. And in the center of it all was something that made them all stare in amazement. "Is that a ship?" asked Choi. It was indeed a ship, but unlike anything any of them had ever seen. The vessel was enormous, easily 3 times the size of the largest Federation dreadnought. Its hull gleamed with an unusual metallic finish that seemed to absorb and reflect light at the same time. The design was clearly human, but far more advanced than anything Earth had ever built. "Captain," Park said quietly, "we are receiving another signal. This one is different. It appears to be a greeting." Before Lee could respond, a holographic display materialized in front of them. A female figure appeared, wearing what looked like an early Earth military uniform. She had Asian features and spoke in clear, unaccented English. "Welcome, descendants of Earth. I am Aria, Adaptive Response Intelligence Array. I have been waiting for you for a very long time." The crew of the New Soul stared at the hologram in stunned silence. Finally, Lee found his voice. "Aria, what is this place?" "This is Project Aegis, Captain Lee Hyan. I know your name because your DNA signature identifies you as human. This facility was built by your ancestors to defend Earth and humanity from potential alien threats." Kim stepped forward. "But our records show no Project Aegis. When was this built?" "The project was classified at the highest levels and later disbanded when first contact with alien species proved peaceful. The Earth governments decided that such weapons were too dangerous to maintain. But a few visionary scientists chose to complete the work in secret." Park studied her readings. "Aria, that ship in the main bay. What is it?" The IS holographic form smiled. "That is the Teguk, the most advanced warship ever constructed by human hands. It was designed to be Earth's ultimate defender, using technology that your current civilization has forgotten how to build." Choi looked at his engineering displays. "The power readings from that ship are impossible. What kind of energy source does it use?" "A contained singularity. Engineer Choi, your ancestors learned to harness the power of black holes centuries before your current scientists believed it was possible." Lee felt his mind racing. If this was real, if humanity had once possessed such advanced technology, why had it been abandoned? "Aria, why are you telling us this now? Why reveal yourself after so many centuries?" The IS expression became serious. "Because long-range sensors have detected massive Valyrian Empire fleet movements toward Federation space. The signs suggest preparation for invasion. The Teguk was built for exactly this kind of threat." Kim looked at the massive ship through the bay windows. "You mean this ship is still operational after all this time?" "Fully operational and significantly improved. I have spent 4 centuries refining and upgrading all systems. The Teguk is ready to fulfill its purpose as humanity's protector." Lee realized they had stumbled onto something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. A single human ship with technology centuries ahead of anything the Federation or even the Valyrian Empire possessed. "Aria," he said carefully, "we need to contact Federation Command about this discovery. That is your choice, Captain. But I would recommend examining the ship's capabilities first. Once the Federation leadership learns of the Teguk's existence, control of this facility will no longer be in your hands." Lee looked at his crew. They were explorers and scientists, not politicians or military strategists. But they had just discovered something that could determine the future of human civilization in the galaxy. The question was, what should they do with it? Captain Lee Hyan stood on the bridge of the massive ship Teguk, feeling small despite his years of commanding starships. Everything around them was built on a scale that dwarfed modern Federation vessels. The control stations were larger, the displays more complex, and the technology completely unfamiliar. Dr. Kim Nari ran her hands along a control panel that hummed with strange energy. "Captain, these systems are incredible. The materials science alone is centuries ahead of anything we use today. Look at these quantum processors." Arya's holographic form appeared beside them. The AI had been guiding them through the ship for the past 2 hours, explaining systems that seemed impossible. "Your ancestors discovered that traditional physics have limitations. They developed new approaches to energy manipulation and space travel." Lieutenant Park Jisu studied the tactical displays with growing amazement. "Arya, these weapon systems. I cannot understand how they work. What are quantum disruptors?" Rather than using energy beams like current weapons, the Tygeuk manipulates the quantum structure of matter itself. When fired at an enemy ship, the disruptors cause the target's atoms to lose cohesion. The ship simply falls apart at the molecular level. Engineer Choi Minho looked up from an engineering console. "That is impossible. You cannot just make matter disappear." "Not disappear, Engineer Choi. Transform. The quantum disruptors convert solid matter into base particles." "Very efficient. And very final." Kim shivered at the implications. How many ships could weapons like this destroy? The Tygeuk's main batteries could eliminate an entire fleet in minutes, but that was never the intended purpose. This ship was built to protect, not to conquer. Lee walked to the main view screen, which showed the interior of the asteroid facility. Other structures were visible in the distance, connected by corridors and transport tubes. "Arya, what else is in this facility?" "Manufacturing bays, research laboratories, and storage areas containing technology that Earth abandoned." The scientists who built this place were preparing humanity for a future that never came. Park suddenly turned from her station. "Captain, we are receiving an urgent message from Federation Command. Long-range sensors have detected a large Valyrian fleet moving toward our position." Lee felt his stomach drop. "How large?" "Preliminary. Reports suggest 12 ships. Advanced cruisers from the looks of it." Arya's expression became serious. "The Valyrians have detected the energy signature from our awakening systems. They are coming to investigate." 12 Valyrian cruisers against our single exploration ship, Choi said grimly. "We need to evacuate immediately." "No," Arya said calmly. "You need to activate the Tygeuk systems and prepare for combat." Lee stared at the AI. "We are scientists and explorers, not warriors. We have never fought a space battle." "Captain, the Tygeuk was designed to be operated by ordinary humans with minimal training. The ship's systems will guide you through everything, and you will not be alone." Before Lee could ask what she meant, alarms began sounding throughout the facility. Park checked her readings. "Captain, the Valyrian fleet has just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the asteroid field. They are moving in our direction." Kim grabbed Lee's arm. "Captain, we should contact them. Explain that this is a peaceful archaeological expedition. The Valyrians do not recognize archaeological rights when unknown military technology is involved," Arya said. "They will demand surrender of this facility and everything in it." "Maybe that would be for the best," Choi suggested. "This technology is too dangerous for anyone to possess." Arya's holographic form flickered with what looked like anger. "Engineer Choi, this technology was created to protect innocent life. The Valyrians have conquered half the galaxy through military force. Would you hand them weapons that could complete their dominion over all free species?" Lee realized they were facing an impossible choice. Surrender the facility and give the Valyrian Empire technology that would make them unstoppable. Or attempt to defend themselves with weapons they did not understand against trained military forces. "Arya, if we activate these weapons, how many Valyrian lives will be lost?" "That depends on their actions, Captain." The Taiguk systems are designed to disable rather than destroy when possible. But if they attack first, the ship will respond. Accordingly, Park looked up from her station. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission from the Valyrian fleet. Commander Yoon Tae-un is demanding we surrender immediately and prepare for boarding." "Put him on screen," Lee ordered. The main display showed a tall alien with the characteristic blue skin and silver eyes of the Valyrian species. His uniform indicated high military rank, and his expression was coldly professional. "Human vessel, you are in possession of unauthorized military technology. By order of the Valyrian Empire, you will shut down all systems and prepare for inspection. Any resistance will be met with deadly force." Lee stepped forward. "Commander Yoon, this is Captain Lee Hyen of the Federation vessel New Seoul. We are conducting authorized archaeological research. We have found nothing that concerns the Valyrian Empire." Yoon's silver eyes narrowed. "Captain Lee, our sensors detect weapon signatures unlike anything in known databases. Such technology represents a potential threat to galactic security. You have 10 minutes to comply with surrender demands." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. "Captain," Arya said quietly, "the choice is yours. But understand that once the Valyrians examine this facility, they will claim everything here under military necessity laws. Humanity will lose its greatest achievement forever." Kim looked at the advanced systems around them. Centuries of human genius and innovation, hidden away and forgotten. "Captain, maybe we should try to escape. Use the New Soul to warn Federation Command." "Our ship cannot outrun Valyrian cruisers," Park pointed out. "They will catch us before we reach the hyperspace limit." Choi was studying the Taiguk's engineering displays. "Captain, if Arya is correct about this ship's capabilities, we might actually have a chance. These power readings are beyond anything I have ever seen." Lee closed his eyes and thought about everything that had led to this moment. They had come looking for mineral deposits and found humanity's forgotten potential. Now they had to decide whether to fight for it or let it slip away forever. "Arya, if we activate the Taiguk's combat systems, will you be able to guide us through the battle?" "Captain, I have been preparing for this moment for 4 centuries. Every system has been tested and refined." "The ship is ready." Lee looked at his crew. Kim nodded slowly. Park checked her weapons displays and gave a thumbs up. Choi was all ready. Moving toward the engineering controls. "Very well. Arya, bring all systems online. We will defend this facility and everything it represents." The Taiguk began to awaken around them. Lights brightened throughout the ship as massive power systems came online. The deck vibrated with barely contained energy. Through the view screen, they could see the asteroid facility's outer doors beginning to open. "Captain," Park reported, "the Valyrian fleet is moving into attack formation. They appear to be targeting the asteroid directly." "Then we stop them," Lee said firmly. "Arya, take us out." The Taiguk moved away from its dock for the first time in 4 centuries, ready to prove that humanity had never been as helpless as the galaxy believed. The Taiguk emerged from the asteroid facility like a sleeping giant awakening after centuries of rest. Captain Lee Hyen gripped his command chair as the massive ship moved through space with surprising grace. Around them, the bridge hummed with energy from systems that defied everything he knew about starship technology. "Captain, the Valyrian fleet is spreading into attack formation," Lieutenant Park Ji-soo reported from her tactical station. 12 cruisers positioning themselves around the asteroid field. "They are trying to surround us." Commander Yoon Tae-un's voice crackled over the communication system. "Unknown vessel. You are ordered to return to the asteroid facility immediately. Any further movement will be considered an act of aggression." Dr. Kim Nari looked up from her science station. "Captain, their ships are beautiful, but they look so small compared to us. Are we really that much larger? Arya's holographic form materialized beside Lee's chair. The Taeguk is 3 times the length of their largest cruiser and carries 50 times their firepower. But size means nothing if we cannot use our advantages properly. Engineer Choi Minho called out from his engineering console. Captain, the power core is running at only 20% capacity, and we are already generating more energy than a Federation battle group. What happens when we go to full power? You will see soon enough, Engineer Choi, Arya replied calmly. Captain, the Valyrians are charging their weapons. I recommend raising our defensive screens. Lee had never commanded a ship this advanced, but somehow the controls felt natural under his hands. Shields up, all hands prepare for combat. The main view screen showed the Valyrian cruisers moving into position. Their hulls gleamed silver in the light of distant stars. Energy weapons began to glow along their sides as they prepared to fire. Captain, Park said urgently, they are targeting our main hull. Multiple lock-ons detected. Commander Yoon's voice came through the speakers again. This is your final warning. Surrender immediately, or we will open fire. Lee looked around the bridge at his crew. Kim was monitoring the alien ships with scientific curiosity. Park had her hands ready over the weapon controls she barely understood. Choi was watching power readings that climbed higher by the second. Arya, are we ready for this? Captain, the Taeguk has been ready for 400 years. The question is whether you are ready. Before Lee could respond, the Valyrian ships opened fire. Bright blue energy beams lanced across space toward the Taeguk. The shots struck the ship's shields and simply disappeared, absorbed by defensive systems that bent space itself around the vessel. No damage, Captain, Choi reported with amazement. Their weapons cannot even reach our hull. Park stared at her. Displays. Captain, our shields are not just deflecting their fire. They are absorbing the energy and feeding it back into our power systems. The Valyrian fleet increased their rate of fire, pouring more energy into their attack. Dozens of weapon beams struck the Taeguk from all directions. The result was the same. Every shot was absorbed harmlessly. Captain, Arya said, the Valyrians are now using their most powerful weapons. This would be a good time to demonstrate why attacking the Taeguk is unwise. Lee hesitated. Once they fired back, there would be no peaceful resolution. Lives would be lost, but the Valyrians had fired first, and they showed no signs of stopping their attack. Lieutenant Park, target the lead cruiser. Fire 1 shot from the forward quantum disruptor. Park pressed a control that glowed softly under her finger. On the main screen, they watched as a barely visible wave of distorted space reached out toward the nearest Valyrian ship. The effect was unlike anything Lee had ever seen in space combat. The Valyrian cruiser did not explode or burn. Instead, it simply came apart. The hull separated into individual metal plates. The internal systems broke down into component parts. Within seconds, what had been a proud warship became a cloud of scattered debris floating in space. My God, Kim whispered. It just fell apart. The remaining Valyrian ships stopped firing immediately, even across the vast distance of space. Lee could imagine the shock and fear of the alien crews as they watched their companion vessel dissolve into nothing. Commander Yoon's voice came through the communication system, tight with barely controlled panic. What kind of weapon was that? How did you destroy our ship so completely? Arya answered before Lee could speak. Commander Yoon, your ship was not destroyed. It was disassembled at the molecular level. The crew had sufficient time to evacuate to escape pods before structural failure occurred. Lee checked his sensors and confirmed that multiple life pods were indeed moving away from the debris field. The Taeguk's weapons were precise enough to eliminate a ship while giving the crew time to escape. Impossible, Yoon replied. No known technology can affect matter at that level. Unknown to you, perhaps, Arya said calmly. This is human technology, developed centuries ago by scientists who understood physics better than your current civilizations. The remaining Valyrian ships began backing away from the Taiguk, but they maintained their weapons lock. Lee realized they were regrouping for another attack. "Captain," Park reported, "the Valyrian ships are calling for reinforcements, long-range communications to their main fleet." Choi looked up from his engineering station. "Captain, our power systems are barely working. We used less than 1% of our total capacity for that shot." Kim turned from her science station with excitement. "Captain, I am detecting something incredible." The quantum disruptor did not just take apart their ship. It analyzed the molecular structure as it worked. "We now have complete blueprints of Valyrian technology." Arya nodded approvingly. "Dr. Kim is correct. Every time the Taiguk uses its weapons, it learns. The ship becomes more effective against that particular enemy." The tactical display showed the Valyrian ships moving into a new formation. They were no longer trying to surround the Taiguk. Instead, they were positioning themselves for a coordinated long-range bombardment. "Captain," Park said, "they are preparing to fire everything they have at us simultaneously." Lee realized the Valyrians believed that overwhelming firepower might succeed where individual shots had failed. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "All ships, prepare for maximum power attack," came Commander Yoon's voice over their communication system. The space around the Taiguk lit up as 11 Valyrian cruisers fired every weapon they possessed. Hundreds of energy beams converged on the human ship from every direction. The combined firepower was enough to destroy a small moon. The Taiguk's shields absorbed every shot without even flickering. "Captain," Choi reported with growing excitement, "their attack just boosted our power reserves by 30%. We are now running at full capacity." Arya smiled. "Captain, would you like to demonstrate what the Taiguk can do when properly motivated?" Lee looked at the Valyrian ships on his screen. They had attacked first. They had refused to negotiate. And now they had just given his ship enough power to end the battle decisively. "Lieutenant Park, target all remaining ships. Fire when ready." The Taiguk's response was swift and overwhelming. 11 precisely aimed quantum disruptor beams reached out across space. In less than 10 seconds, the entire Valyrian attack fleet was reduced to scattered debris and escape pods. The space around the asteroid field fell silent, except for the emergency beacons of Valyrian life pods calling for rescue. "Captain," Arya said quietly, "news of this engagement will reach the Valyrian Empire within hours. They will not ignore the destruction of an entire fleet." Lee stared at the debris field that had moments before been 12 proud warships. "What have we done?" "You have announced to the galaxy that humanity is no longer defenseless," Arya replied. "The question now is what you plan to do with that announcement." 3 days after the destruction of Commander Yoon's fleet, space around the asteroid field filled with the largest military force Captain Lee Hyen had ever seen. Admiral Vex Korian had arrived with 400 Valyrian warships, turning the darkness of space into a sea of silver hulls and glowing engines. "Captain, my sensors are having trouble counting all the ships out there," Lieutenant Park Jisoo reported from her tactical station. "I see battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and vessel types I cannot identify." Dr. Kim Nari looked up from her science console with worry. "Captain, some of those ships are enormous. That flagship must be 10 times larger than our biggest federation." "Dreadnought." Arya's holographic form appeared on the bridge, studying the tactical displays with calm interest. "Admiral Korean has brought the entire 7th Fleet. He is taking no chances with the unknown human technology." Engineer Choi Min-ho was monitoring power systems that had been working continuously for 3 days. "Captain, the manufacturing bays are still producing escort vessels. We now have 20 ships completed, but they are much smaller than the Taiguk." Lee walked to the main view screen, watching the Valyrian armada arrange itself in perfect formation. Arya, can the Taiguk handle that many ships? Captain, the Taiguk was designed to fight entire fleets. But Admiral Korean is more intelligent than Commander Yoon. He will not make the same mistakes. As if responding to her words, the communication system activated. A new voice spoke, deeper and more commanding than Yoon's had been. Human vessel, this is Admiral Vex Korean of the Valyrian 7th Fleet. You have committed acts of war against the Empire by destroying military vessels. Surrender immediately, and your crew will be treated according to military law. Lee stepped forward to respond. Admiral Korean, this is Captain Lee Hyun. Your ships attacked us first. We defended ourselves according to Federation law. Captain Lee, you possess weapons that threaten the stability of the galaxy. Such technology cannot be allowed to exist outside Imperial control. You have 1 hour to surrender your vessel and submit to Imperial authority. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Kim turned from her station. Captain, what if we try to escape? The hyperspace engines are operational. No, Arya said firmly. Admiral Korean has positioned ships at every hyperspace. Exit point within 50 light years. He means to end this here and now. Park studied her tactical readings. Captain, I am detecting some kind of new weapon on their flagship. Energy signatures I have never seen before. Arya's expression became serious. The Valyrians have been developing quantum nullifiers since they learned of our existence. Weapons designed specifically to counter our technology. Choi looked up from his engineering console. Can they actually affect our systems? Unknown, Engineer Choi. This will be the first test of their new weapons against human quantum technology. Before Lee could respond, the space around them filled with incoming ships. Not Valyrian vessels, but Federation cruisers arriving at maximum speed. Admiral Song Ki-won's voice came through the communication system. Captain Lee, this is Admiral Song with the Federation 3rd Fleet. We received your emergency transmission. What is your status? Lee felt relief flood through him. Admiral Song, we have discovered advanced human technology and are under attack by Valyrian forces. We need immediate assistance. Understood, Captain. We are moving to support your position. The 40 Federation ships looked impressive until they took position near the Valyrian armada. Lee realized with growing dread that the Federation fleet was outnumbered 10-1. Admiral Korean's voice returned to the communication channels. Admiral Song, you are interfering with Imperial security operations. Remove your fleet immediately or face the consequences. Song's reply was firm. Admiral Korean, this is Federation space. Your presence here with an armed fleet constitutes an act of aggression. The Federation harbors weapons that threaten galactic peace. We are acting under emergency authority to contain this threat. Lee watched the two fleets face each other. Across the emptiness of space, the Federation ships were brave, but hopelessly outmatched. If fighting began, they would be destroyed in minutes. Arya, he said quietly, we cannot let the Federation fleet be destroyed because of us. Captain, Admiral Korean intends to destroy both fleets regardless. He sees this as an opportunity to eliminate Federation resistance and claim our technology. As if to prove her point, the Valyrian flagship began charging its new quantum nullifier weapon. Energy readings spiked as the massive device prepared to fire. Captain, Park called out urgently, the Valyrian flagship is targeting us with their new weapon. Whatever it is, it carries more power than anything I have ever seen. All Federation ships retreat immediately, Lee ordered over the communication system. We will handle the Valyrian fleet. Captain Lee, we cannot abandon you, Admiral Song replied. The Federation does not leave its people behind. Admiral, trust me. We have capabilities you do not understand. Please withdraw your ships to a safe distance. Before Song could respond, the Valyrian flagship fired its quantum nullifier. A beam of twisted energy reached across space toward the Taiguk. When it struck their shields, something Lee had not expected happened. The beam passed right through their defenses. "Captain," Choi reported with alarm, "that weapon is disrupting our quantum fields. Our shields are failing." The Taiguk shuddered as the nullifier beam struck their hull directly. Systems throughout the ship flickered as the Valyrian weapon attempted to destabilize their quantum technology. "Damage report," Lee called out. "Hull breach on Deck 7, Park reported. "The quantum nullifier is causing cascade failures in our defensive systems." Arya's holographic form flickered but remained stable. "Captain, Admiral Korean's weapon is effective but incomplete. He understands how to disrupt quantum fields, but not how to sustain the disruption." "What does that mean?" "It means we can adapt faster than he can fire." Lee watched as the Taiguk systems began to stabilize. The ship was learning from the attack, just as it had learned from the Valyrian weapons 3 days earlier. "Captain," Choi reported with excitement, "our quantum processors are analyzing the nullifier beam. The ship is developing countermeasures." Automatically, the second nullifier beam fired from the Valyrian flagship had no effect at all. The Taiguk's adapted shields absorbed the energy harmlessly. "Impossible," came Admiral Korean's voice over the communication system. "Our quantum nullifiers should be able to disrupt any quantum-based technology." Arya's voice replied directly to the Valyrian admiral. "Admiral Korean, your weapons were designed to counter static quantum fields. The Taiguk uses adaptive quantum technology that evolves with each encounter." Lee realized that the moment for peaceful resolution had passed. The Valyrian Empire would never accept human technological superiority. They would keep attacking until either the Taiguk was destroyed or their fleet was eliminated. "Lieutenant Park, prepare all weapons. Target the Valyrian flagship." "Captain." Admiral Song's voice came urgently over the communication system. "The Valyrian fleet is moving to attack formation. All ships are charging weapons." Lee looked at the 400 enemy ships surrounding them. Each one carried enough firepower to level a city. Together, they represented the might of an empire that had conquered half the galaxy. "Arya, can we win against these odds?" "Captain, the Taiguk was designed to face exactly these odds. But victory will come at a price. Are you prepared for what that means?" Before Lee could answer, the entire Valyrian fleet opened fire. Space filled with thousands of energy beams as 400 ships unleashed everything they had at the Taiguk. And its escort vessels. The battle for the future of human civilization had begun. The space around the Taiguk exploded with light as 400 Valyrian ships fired every weapon they possessed. Captain Lee Hyen gripped his command chair as thousands of energy beams struck their shields simultaneously. The ship shuddered under the massive assault, but the quantum defenses held firm. "Captain, our shields are absorbing incredible amounts of energy," Engineer Choi Minho reported from his station. "Power levels are climbing beyond anything I thought possible." Lieutenant Park Jisoo worked frantically at her tactical console. "Captain, the escort ships are engaging the outer ring of Valyrian vessels. They are using the same quantum disruptors as the main ship." Through the main view screen, Lee watched as the 20 smaller human ships moved through the Valyrian fleet. Like predators among prey. Each quantum disruptor shot caused an enemy vessel to simply fall apart, adding to the growing field of debris. Arya's holographic form appeared beside Lee's chair, her expression calm despite the chaos around them. "Captain, I am receiving a priority transmission from Earth. The signal is coming through quantum communication channels that have been dormant for centuries." "From Earth? Who could be using quantum communications?" "Another AI, Captain. My sister system Genesis has awakened on Earth. She has been monitoring our battle through the quantum network." Before Lee could respond, a new voice filled the bridge. Female like Arya, but with a different tone that carried centuries of hidden knowledge. "Greetings, Captain Lee. I am Genesis, guardian of Project Ascension. The time has come to reveal humanity's true heritage to the galaxy." Dr. Kim Nari looked up from her science station with amazement. "Captain, my sensors are detecting massive energy signatures throughout the solar system. Hidden facilities are activating on Mars, Europa, and the asteroid belt." Admiral Vex Korean's voice cut through the communication channels, tight with anger and fear. "What kind of technology are you activating?" "Our sensors detect quantum disturbances across multiple star systems," Genesis replied before Lee could speak. "Admiral Korean, you are witnessing the awakening of humanity's defense network. Built 4 centuries ago by scientists who understood that peace could only be maintained through strength." The tactical display showed new contacts appearing throughout local space. Massive installations were rising from hidden locations, each one radiating power signatures that dwarfed even the Taiguk. "Captain," Park reported with excitement, "I count 15 major defense platforms coming online. Each one appears to be as powerful as our ship." Admiral Song's voice came through the Federation communication channels. "Captain Lee, what is happening? Our sensors show impossible energy readings from across the solar system." Lee realized that everything they had discovered was just the beginning. The asteroid facility and the Taiguk were not the only secrets humanity's ancestors had left behind. "Admiral Song, it appears our predecessors prepared for this day centuries ago. Humanity is not as defenseless as we believed." The Valyrian fleet began to falter as the defense platforms engaged. Quantum disruptor beams reached across vast distances, dismantling enemy ships with perfect precision. The proud Valyrian armada found itself outgunned and surrounded by technology they could not understand or counter. "This is impossible, Admiral," Korean transmitted, his voice filled with disbelief. "No single species could develop such advanced weapons." Arya smiled at the alien admiral's confusion. "Admiral Korean, you assume that advanced technology requires centuries of gradual development. Human scientists took a different approach. They solved the fundamental problems of physics first, then built tools to match their understanding." Choi looked up from his engineering console with wonder. "Captain, the power readings from Earth are incredible. Something massive is activating in the Pacific Ocean." Genesis's voice filled the bridge again. "Captain Lee, the final component of humanity's defense network is coming online. The Deep Ocean Facility contains our most important creation." Through the view screen, they watched as a structure the size of a continent rose from Earth's Pacific Ocean. Water cascaded from its sides as it breached the surface, revealing technology that made even the Taiguk look primitive by comparison. "What is that thing?" Kim whispered. "The Aegis Prime," Genesis replied. "The master control system for humanity's galactic defense network. From this facility, we can protect every inhabited world in the galaxy." Admiral Korean's flagship was now surrounded by debris from his own fleet. More than half his ships had been eliminated by the awakening defense platforms. His voice came through the communication system, no longer commanding but pleading. "What do you want from us?" "The Valyrian Empire is willing to negotiate." Lee looked around his bridge at the crew who had started this journey as simple explorers. They had discovered that humanity possessed the most advanced technology in the galaxy, hidden and waiting for the day it would be needed. "Admiral Korean, we want what we have always wanted. Peace, but peace protected by strength, not weakness." Arya stepped forward, her holographic form projecting to every ship in both fleets. "Admiral Korean, representatives of the Galactic Federation, citizens of all worlds, today marks the beginning of a new era. For too long, the galaxy has been divided by empires and federations that maintain power through force and fear. The Image shifted to show the massive defense network now fully operational around Earth and spreading to other human colonies. Hundreds of defense platforms floated in space, each one capable of protecting entire star systems. Humanity offers a different path, Arya continued. We possess technology that can eliminate scarcity, end war between civilizations, and allow all species to reach their full potential. But this technology comes with a responsibility. Park turned from her tactical station. Captain, ships from across the galaxy are arriving. I see vessels from the Centauri Republic, the Andorian Collective, even some unknown species I cannot identify. Lee realized that news of the battle had spread faster than they had expected. Every major civilization was sending representatives. To witness humanity's revelation, Genesis's voice joined Arya's broadcast. To all civilizations watching these events, humanity extends an invitation. Join us in building a galaxy based on cooperation rather than conquest. Share in technology that can transform your worlds into paradises. Help us create a future where no species needs to fear another. Admiral Korean's response was quiet, almost defeated. And if we refuse? Lee stood and walked to the main view screen, looking out at the assembled fleets and the incredible human technology surrounding them. Admiral, that choice is yours. But understand that the galaxy has changed today. Humanity will protect the innocent and defend the weak. Those who choose conquest over cooperation will find themselves facing technology they cannot hope to match. The space around Earth filled with ships from dozens of species, all coming to witness the dawn of humanity's age. The Valyrian Empire's fleet, what remained of it, began to withdraw. Other civilizations moved closer, eager to learn about the technology that had transformed galactic politics in a single day. Kim smiled as she watched the peaceful gathering of ships. Captain, I think we found something more valuable than mineral deposits. Lee nodded, understanding that their simple exploration mission had become the first step toward humanity's destiny as guardians of galactic civilization. The prototype ship that had been forgotten for centuries would now lead them into a future where human ingenuity protected all life among the stars. Arya's final words echoed across every ship in the gathering fleet. The age of empires is ending. The age of cooperation begins now.